right, good morning, Land Surveyor Board. Welcome. This is November 17th. If it pleases the chair, we'll go ahead and call this meeting to order.
Yeah, thank you, Galinga, and good morning to all the members and all the staff here present. Certainly want to thank you in advance for all the preparation and hard work that you've done leading up to the meeting, as is evidenced by our pile of paperwork here. Real quick, I will go ahead and read the notice. Notice of the November 17, 2022 meeting of the Board of Examiners for Land Surveyors, including date, time, and location, has been noticed to the Land Surveyor website since December 2nd, 2021. Additionally, this month's agenda has been posted on the website since November 4th, 2022.
Hey, real quick, I'm going to try to see if we can hit this feedback right quick and just see if we can get that. Sorry, we got a little bit feedback. We can roll on, but at the same time, too, I didn't want you guys to be distracted either. So, but thank you. We got two things out of the way. We're called to order, and we've got the notice of meeting, so we are off and running. If it's okay with you guys, I'll go ahead and call the roll, and then I'll see where we're at on this feedback, and then we'll go from there. All right. So, Jay Kaufman, here. Jackie Dillahay, here. Gary Clark, here. Kevin Martin,
here.
All right. Very well. Looks like we have quorum, and I think we can track on. I don't hear any feedback, so let's just drive on. All right, on to the agenda then.
Very good. Yeah, I assume all the members here have a copy of the agenda. Of course, it was published on the website back in November 4th. Unless there's any changes to the agenda, I would be willing to accept the motion for approval.
Move we adopt the agenda as stated.
Got a motion from Mr. Dillahay. Do we have a second?
Second.
Got a second from Mr. Clark. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? All right, hearing none. Agenda is approved as is. I think we're ready then for the August minutes.
True. I did have, in review of the minutes, I did have one change. I just want to confirm it first and then make the change if it's possible. Right there on page 1, call to order. It said the meeting was called to order at 10 a.m. I believe it was 9 a.m.
That would be correct. So we can never
9
make
a.m.
that.
So right there, page 1, that was the only change that I saw that stood out. Any other changes from the members here? All right, seeing none, accept a motion for approval of the minutes with the accepted changes.
Move for approval.
We got a motion from Gary Clark. Do we have a second?
Second.
We got a second from Mr. Martin. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? All right, we'll get that edit done and we'll get up on the website. We'll pause for a second, just I guess check for the professional society reports.
I believe I was told ahead of time that Mr. Jimmy Cleveland from TAPS was going to call in. I hope he's on the phone here. Is he on? He is? Good. Jimmy, you there?
Good morning, Jay. How is everybody doing today?
Hey, we're doing great. We sure appreciate you calling in, being prompt on time like always.
We definitely appreciate the opportunity to attend these meetings virtually. It sure makes it a lot easier for us. As far as the TAPS goes, we've got a meeting coming up in about 2 weeks on December the 3rd. Be our winter meeting, kind of finalizing a few things for the upcoming conference. Continuing to work on our 5-year plan. Been working on that the last 6 or 8 months since our spring conference. Continuing to refine and work on our outreach program to reach a potential young people to get them into the surveying profession. That seems to be going well. We've got a lot of enthusiasm, a lot of good positive things going on with that. It's my understanding that the enrollment at ETSU has almost doubled. So that's extremely promising for our profession. So a lot of positive things going on right now, and I hope we can keep that momentum going. And as far as I know, everybody's really, really busy. So that's a good thing. So as far as I know, that's all we've got to report. Just look forward to seeing everybody at the spring conference here, which is just a few months away.
Me real quick, didn't TAPS recently hold elections?
They did. They did.
Do you recall the results of that just offhand?
Andrew Stokes was elected president-elect. John Winter took over as president. for the current year, and all the other offices were unopposed. I am the Secretary Treasurer. Ken Shreve is the conference chairman, vice president. Mark Craddy is the NSPS governor director. Chris Billingsley is the out-of-state director. Mike Fry is the West director at large. Chris Getz is the middle director at large, and Brian Bartlett is the East director at large. And I can't. And Ashley Rose Nayland stayed on as past president. So I don't think I've missed any off the top of my head.
Any update on the upcoming conference?
Not at this time. We should get a report, a more detailed report at the December meeting.
Okay, very good. I think later on we'll be addressing the TAPs that submitted for some PDH courses to be taught at that conference. I think we'll be addressing that later on. But okay, very good. Any questions for Jimmy? All good there? Jimmy, sure appreciate your time as always.
All right, thank you. We appreciate y'all. Thank you so much.
All right, I think that covers it for the society report. We ready to move on to the education report?
Sir.
Okay, I trust that all the members have a copy of the courses that have been submitted for PDHs. Of course, these have probably already been vetted across your desktop at one time. Some, maybe not all, but some of them certainly. And then obviously that's how they get here for final approval. If there's any selected items that any of the board members here would like to take off and discuss separately, that'd be great. Otherwise, I think one motion for approval of all of them would suffice, unless there is something specific you want to address. Is there any board member that wants to select any specific item? Okay. All right, hearing none.
I move that we approve them as presented.
All right. Motion and second. Any further discussion? All right. All those in favor of approval of the education report say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Very nice. All right, director's report.
Okay, you should have the budget there in front of you. The first of the year, we'll go into the reserves, dive into that. But right now, we have the trending analysis here before you. I typically try to look at it year end over end to see if there's any sort of anomalies or anything that sort of stands out at me, and then address those first, and then follow up with any potential questions that you may have. If there's unless there's anything right out the gate, there was a couple notations I made. One, I saw a moderate increase for technology expenses in August. We are upgrading to the cloud. We've already done that. So we have some IT-related support expenses there. And those are across programs. And I saw those same increases across all the other programs that I also have oversight over as well. So that was pretty consistent. Didn't see anything outside of the norm there. I did see a spike in case revenue in September due to a settlement of disciplinary action rendered. So that's good.
I was going to ask about that. I'm thinking that correlates to from our last meeting with that one specific case. I think we had issued a $10,000 civil fee, and I assume that was the same. So
I was encouraged to see that they responded quickly and just settled that, get that out of the way. To see those things sort of linger, and so that was good. Other than that, I didn't see anything else that just jumped out at me. Except for you guys, you're already aware, having been on the board, that we're in a non-renewal year, so we're going to run a deficit this year, but we'll see that change and turn around next year. But right now, it's pretty much business as usual.
Just curious, underneath the case revenue, the state reg fee, 40, 30, 20, is that just, it just looks kind of discretionary, to be honest.
Yeah, no, that's basically, it's I forget how the accountant put that. It's basically a fee that we pay fiscal general services to print licenses. That's $5 per license. And so, my first inclination is, why isn't that under expenses? But it's some accounting sort of notation for they're basically saying it's not a true expense, and however they work that, I don't remember the terminology, but basically $5 per fee. So you're looking at 4 licenses got printed, so yeah.
All right. Any other questions? No? Okay. don't think there's a motion or anything with that, is there? I wouldn't think so.
Okay, that puts us for the 2023 NCEES zone meeting. That will be in Houston. April 27th through 29th. I trust you had an opportunity to sort of look at your calendars and look if you'd be permitted to go. We're looking at 3 funded board member delegates are permitted. So once the board sort of bird dogs for me who those would be, then I'll reach out to NCEES and then they'll be reaching out to you accordingly as far as making those preparations.
I feel pretty confident you can say the 3 board members here, not to exclude you there, Kev, but
No, I think it makes the most
as
sense.
has been standard in the past,
That's right.
pretty much the 3 of us. You write that down.
Very well. We'll just need a motion in that regard then. If someone could make a motion for Mr. Clark, Mr. Kaufman, and Mr. Dillahay to attend that meeting in Houston, Texas in April.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, sir. Got a motion from Mr. Dillahay. Got a second?
Second.
Got a second from Mr. Martin. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, hearing none, we'll get that passed and I'll get that on. Thank you.
Very nice. Very nice. All right, moving on to the legal report. Miss Erica, I think that puts the microphone in front of you, I think.
I guess I will take
Spotlight
care
is
of
turned
that.
on.
All right. Number 1 is 2022-024-181. This is an administrative complaint related to respondent's license renewal. Respondent answered yes to the renewal application question related to completing required education credits and professional development hours. So 30 hours are required to have been completed between 2020 and 2021. So a renewal was processed at that time and he got his license. During an audit, it was found that respondent had only completed 15 hours during the 2020 to 2021 cycle, and the other 15 hours had been completed this year in 2022. So I recommend issuing a $500 civil penalty for failing to comply with Rule 0820-05-.032, which requires a licensee seeking renewal to obtain 30 professional development hours during the 2-year period immediately preceding application for renewal. And that is in line with what we've done in the past for similar audit violations of PDH.
Yeah, that was my question, really. I just want to keep it consistent.
Yes.
Just out of curiosity, is this done through a consent order? Is that how it's
Yes.
completed? It is. Okay.
Yes. And if they were not to sign the consent order, we would have a formal hearing.
Yep. All right. Any discussion here? Discussion? Hearing none, I'll accept a motion for approval of the recommended action from staff.
Make a motion to approve the staff recommendation for $500 civil penalty.
All right. Motion, is there a second?
Second.
All right. Motion second. Further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Item 2, please.
Number 2 is 2022-036-181. Complainant is an attorney who filed this complaint alleging respondent's survey was inadequate for local zoning and was not responding to their attempts at contact. Complainant hired respondent to provide a survey of their residents for the purposes of meeting the requirements of the contextual overlay district pursuant to the local government code. Complainant alleges respondent's survey was deemed inadequate to issue a building permit for the address. Respondent states they performed a survey for complainant in April, and although there was nothing in the proposal about the contextual overlay zoning guidelines, respondent knew complainant wanted it, so that information was included on the survey. Respondent states they normally include this kind of information on site plans, which are used to apply for building permits, but complainant did not want respondent to do one. Complainant emailed respondent on August 26, 2022, stating that codes would not approve the building permit because 4 neighboring houses used in the contextual average weren't shown on the survey or site plan, which was not done by respondent. Respondent explained that all 4 houses were used in the calculations, but you simply could not see the 4th house on their survey because of the scale that was used. Respondent was told by the zoning examiner that he needs to be able to see the 4th house on the survey or site plan. Respondent then added the revision to their schedule, but before they even had a chance to respond to the email, Within 2 hours, complainant began sending threatening emails to respondent demanding the correction be made to the survey. Complainant told respondent they had 48 hours, and respondent did send the revision within that time frame. However, complainant first left bad reviews and filed this complaint, as well as the next complaint that I'll talk about below against respondent's employer. Complainant also began sending emails to a local council member and was insulting that member. Respondent states that as far as they know, zoning overlay guidelines are not a requirement on a boundary survey, and they tried to go above and beyond to satisfy complainant. This matter has been resolved, and based on the information provided by complainant and respondent, I recommend dismissal.
I think we've all had similar type clients. I can think of one or two. Yeah, I don't see any grounds here on rules violations of any kind. I tend to agree with the recommendation. Any discussion here? No. All right. So open to a motion.
Move we dismiss.
All right. Motion for dismissal. Is there a second?
A second.
And discussion. All right. Not hearing. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. And item 3, I think, is a carryover from item 2. Is that right?
Yes. It's 2022-036211. So this was filed by the same complainant against respondent's employer. So respondent's employer is the respondent in this complaint. And there's no further information. It's basically the same complaint, same response. So based on that and the fact that it's resolved, I recommend dismissal.
Discussion here. Is there a motion to be made?
Move we dismiss.
Second.
Second.
All right. Motion second. Further discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And opposed. All right. Motion passes. Item 4, please.
Okay, number 4 is 2022-035451. Complainant is a Tennessee licensed land surveyor who alleges that respondent provided complainant's client with a drawing reported to be a survey of their property. Complainant states that it wasn't until they completed the survey and delivered the signed drawing to the client that he was told the drawing from respondent was completed using GIS data and no field work. Complainant alleges this erroneous drawing caused considerable harm to their client and caused them to hire complainant to disprove respondent's drawing. Complainant further alleges that the seal is improper because the drawing states, quote, preliminary copy for review only, instead of, quote, registered land surveyor on the inside of the seal. Complainant alleges this is deceitful because the drawing appears to be final, even though it clearly states preliminary. Respondent denies ever stating or implying that they use GIS data rather than performing a field survey. Respondent provides an email and field data showing that they informed the property owner and the closing title company involved that the house and boundary had been field located. Respondent denies causing any damages in this matter, especially considering they never received payment for the performed survey, as it is their practice to never accept payment until a job is complete and the customer is satisfied. Respondent further states that it is their practice not to provide a sealed copy until the job is complete. The preliminary stamp is placed on the maps to inform the customer that the job is still ongoing, and this is a copy for review only, as noted on the stamp itself. Respondent does a considerable amount of work with the title company involved, and they request a copy for a customer to review anytime issues are identified on a property they deem likely to cause the title company not to be able to insure a property. Respondent stops work and allows time for the title company and the customer to review before running up excess survey costs. After review and at a customer's request, respondent would then return to the property to conduct a more extensive boundary retracement to determine if the issue can be resolved. Only when the job has been thoroughly completed would the drawing be stamped with respondent's official state seal and certified. Respondent is shocked that a fellow surveyor such as complainant would accuse another surveyor in this manner without checking on the facts in question and file a complaint based on hearsay. I found no evidence of any violations and recommend dismissal.
Thank you. Yeah, in review, the issue that I could come up with, just trying to find one, was the the preliminary copy for review only. It sounds to me, I'm just trying to kind of make a visual of what this person did. He applies his seal, and where it says registered land surveyor, he removes that portion and says preliminary copy for review only, which according to our rules allows us to do that, for the sole purpose that it's a preliminary. That's the point, and that we have to apply that verbiage on the survey itself. It doesn't say how, where, how big. I mean, we're not going to micromanage like that. So I mean, as best I can tell, the respondent is in compliance. You know, he did what she did what they're supposed to do. However, it sounds to me, just trying to make a visual, that the way it's written in there, it looks like it's part of the stamp, and that just a quick glance, you would think that is the actual stamp.
It's like in the circle.
In the circle, thank you.
It
Yeah.
is.
In my practice, when we issue preliminaries, it's bold red letters across the stamp that says in all caps very clearly, preliminary copy for review only. Again, I'm not saying that there's a violation here. I don't see a violation here, but I would just kind of make a suggestion that perhaps they eliminate it from being part of the circle part of the stamp to bold letters and just make it a little more visible, perhaps. But all in all, I agree with the recommendation from staff from dismissal, as I don't see any violations here. If there's any comments from other members here, or if there's a motion to be made.
I agree. And perhaps you probably learned from this instance that maybe a bigger preliminary would be more appropriate. But it's fortunate that's the whole circumstance here is bad.
I didn't see it.
That's probably a complaint that should never have been made. But I move for dismissal.
All right, we have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and second. Any further discussion on it? Hearing none, those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion passes. We'll move on to item 5, please.
Number 5 is 2022-036991. Complainant alleges respondent completed a survey on a property adjacent to his that was inaccurate. Complainant does not provide any documentation to support this allegation or really any more information at all to review. Respondent states that complainant was angry about their property lines and decided to take revenge by filing this complaint. And then complainant sent another letter in asking to withdraw this complaint as this matter has been resolved. Therefore, I recommend dismissal.
Yeah, pretty straightforward. Okay, is there a motion to be made?
Move we dismiss.
All right, motion and a second.
Second.
All right, motion second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And opposed. All right, motion passes on to item 5. We'll move on to item 6, please.
Number 6 is 2022-040751. Complainant purchased a property in June of 2021 and alleges respondent did not correctly identify the boundaries on their survey of the property. Respondent's survey at issue was conducted in 2006. Complainant alleges respondent relied on 100-year-old hearsay to determine the boundaries and ignored title research, effectively giving away valuable highway frontage land with mild historical value. Respondent is unable to provide the survey and documentation for this matter because they sold their business in 2014 and no longer has that information available. Additionally, respondent correctly argues that complainant has no real status to file a complaint in regards to this survey, which was conducted pursuant to a court order on September 28, 2006, due to the statute of limitations and repose, which is laid out in Tennessee Code Annotated 28-3-114A. And it specifically states all actions to recover damages against any person engaged in the practice of surveying for any deficiency, defect, omission, error, or miscalculation shall be brought within 4 years from the date of the survey or from the date the survey is recorded on the plat. Any such action not instituted within this 4-year period shall forever be barred. The cause of action in such cases shall accrue within when the services are performed. Therefore, I recommend dismissal based on the fact that the statute of limitations and repose has passed by far.
Yeah, it looks that way. It looks like, 16 years plus
Yes.
since he
Little over
performed the
16.
survey, and obviously the surveyor was out of business for, 8 years, roughly. I can only imagine that phone call.
Right. I'm
What?
sure he probably tried to, despite the fact that it was barred,
Yeah,
just to try to help.
I understand. All right, is there any discussion here? I think it's pretty straightforward and a straightforward use of that Tennessee Code Annotated. We've all certainly are aware of that one, but this is the actual case here, so very nice application there. Thank you. Is there a motion to be made?
Make a motion to accept the council recommendation of dismissal.
Motion and a second, please.
Second.
Further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion passes. I think that covers the full.
There's a supplement
There's a supplement? There's a
with
supplement?
one more complaint.
Oops, okay. Do we have anything on that, or?
Yeah, it should be right there on your iPad if you look below a little bit further. Yeah, we had to add a late minute,
Okay.
last minute, so we'll just read it into the record and
All right,
go from
please
there.
do.
Okay. And this additional supplement is 2022013-961. Complainant states the issue leading to this complaint began back in 1991. Complainant purchased a property in 1991 and was provided a 50-foot right-of-way, which was supposed to be surveyed and cleared within 1 year. And basically, there was a boundary dispute. It went to court, and the judge ordered an independent surveyor, which ended up being Respondent. Respondent completed this survey as ordered by the judge in October of 2004. Complainant still doesn't agree with the boundary, and although Respondent has tried to resolve this matter for years with complainant, and there was a recent Zoom meeting with the judge where the judge basically said, Respondent, you've made your call, you've completed your survey, and complainant, you're kind of out of luck. So this matter is also barred by the statute of limitations and repose, so I recommend dismissal.
Similar to the earlier item 6, then, is
Right.
that correct? Okay, I got you. All right, is there any discussion here? All right. Hearing none, I'll accept the motion.
Move for dismissal.
Motion for dismissal, is there a second?
Second.
All right, any further discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And opposed. All right, motion passes. Great.
That really does conclude
That really, really does it.
the legal report.
Outstanding job. Great work there. I do appreciate your summaries. Thorough, concise, and contain all the material that we need to see without the fluff. So outstanding job.
Thank you.
Well done. Well done. All right. I believe that covers the legal report. Is that correct? All right. And we'll move on to the red line rules. We did at our last meeting, we did hold the public hearing, I think was our last meeting. Is that right? And there was several comments and suggestions from the staff, or not from staff, but from the public, that I took on and incorporated into the red line rules and made those suggested changes based on those comments, and then resubmitted them back up to Stuart in your department. And of course, you vetted through those and then have come back with a final red line version. I believe that's what was sent to us. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay.
I hope it's final.
Yeah, well, we all do. We all do. That's the goal. I just wanted to clarify that, obviously in the red line version, there was obviously red lines, and then there was blue red lines that was in there as well. I believe that is what indicates the final version that we're submitting. I just want to make sure that's correct. That the blue is to be incorporated in.
The blue is to be incorporated in.
Correct, yes.
Yes.
Okay, all right. I want to make sure what I was reading was correct. I don't know that I've seen, and maybe it doesn't exist, an actual draft of the final version just in black. If you know what I mean, without the red lines, without the script through it, without the blues, just what the final will look like. Does that exist somewhere? I imagine it does.
Well, we can get it to you. That's not a problem. We highlight the changes because, so that way you're not trying to find it or try to recollect or, yeah.
Did you guys stamp preliminary on that?
Yeah.
I couldn't miss that opportunity.
Yeah, we want to make sure that, because there were just some subtle changes on, suggestions, but there were a couple of substantive that we needed to change with conflicts and things like that.
Okay.
So I just wanted to make sure that y'all knew that there was, just some little things so that you weren't missing it.
Right. Okay.
But yeah, we can get you a regular copy. But this is what we need to do today is approve this version so that we can move forward and have another rulemaking hearing in February.
Really?
I believe, is that the next meeting?
We are going to do another rulemaking hearing.
We have to. Yes, we have
Really?
to.
Okay. I thought that they were the final changes were so minor that we were trying to skirt that part a little bit. But we do have to have another rulemaking hearing. Huh?
Yeah, to be safe, we want to make sure that we do it the correct
Understand.
way. So we want to make sure that all of y'all are here on February.
Right.
at the meeting, and so that and it should, I mean, with all the suggestions that we've already heard, it should go pretty smoothly and a lot quicker.
But you mentioned that there was one substantious change to it. What was that?
There was some concern that there was some conflict. It was conflicting with another rule, and so we've made those changes where it doesn't conflict.
Okay, so we are scheduled then at our February meeting to have another public hearing.
That's what we're scheduling for.
Okay.
Now, those comments should be relatively the same, so I'm not expecting, unless there's new comments, there's no reason to repeat everything that was repeated. That's already on the record. That's memorialized. So, I mean, at this point, we'll open it, but it's going to be for new comments.
Certainly.
Yeah.
At what point will that be published, that the public hearing is coming up, such that the public can access, this document, have time to read through it and address any additional comments if there are any? At what point will that happen?
Stuart will send out a notify, but I'll give you the opportunity to speak to the timeline there, Stuart.
I think it's I don't remember the certain amount of days that we have to do it before, but it'll be pretty soon.
Okay.
It'll
All right.
probably be in December.
Okay, and really the only reason I address that is, at the last public hearing, it was like the day before, 2 days before, I started getting a flood of phone calls. Like most people, they put it off to the end type thing. Some people would be like, they either wanted to ask questions or comments, or they didn't know it was coming up, or, what is this all about, or et cetera, and it all happens at the last minute. And I just wanted to make sure that we're following the guidelines for the adequate number of days in advance that's published, so that it's not us that didn't address it in time. That rather.
No, they will have plenty of time.
I figured. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's always the last minute. Yeah.
Oh yeah. That's the way it works. I'm no different. Okay, so as far as the red line rules go, other than another public hearing in the February meeting, is there anything we need to address here today?
We just need these approved.
Okay, yeah. I did, obviously I went through them, obviously read the red lines, the blue lines. I did see a couple of those minor changes that you mentioned that, from what I had submitted, that's fine. I have no issues with it. Is there any member of the board here that has an item to discuss of any kind? Otherwise, we'll be looking for a motion for approval.
Move we approve.
Second.
We have the motion and the second. An opportunity for further discussion. All right, hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Does that cover what you needed?
Yes.
All right. Trying to take care of you there. That's all good. All right. We're getting there. We're getting there on those rules. February, huh? February 2023, right? Okay. All right. I think that covers everything under legal. New business?
Other than whatever the board may have, I just want to get to after we get those items, whatever those items may be, if anything, just the PDHs, but that'll be it, yeah.
Okay, I do have 2 items under new business I do want to address. The first one being Public Chapter 1128. We did briefly mention this at our last meeting. This is what we commonly refer to as the Wittenberg Rule, which has since gone into public record under Chapter 1128. We do need to at least address this, or make a discussion, or have a discussion on it briefly about how it could, will, or may affect the surveying business, and how it may apply to the rules. So I would ask members of the board here to brush up on that Chapter 1128 and be prepared for a discussion of some sort when we come back at our next meeting. Second item, something that needs to be addressed, and I'll be willing to take this on. I've noticed in a lot of the applications that have come through, especially with those applicants that are coming under either a 2-year degree or a non-surveying specific 4-year degree, where they are required to have the additional surveying courses. We're all familiar with the List 1, List 2, List 3, for those of us that review the applications. And I refer to the list of approved courses, and those are like from UT Knoxville, UT Martin, all the local universities of courses that the board has, for years now, commonly accepted as a List 1 course or a List 2 course or List 3 course. And what I'm finding is, now with the advent of online courses, these courses are much more available at other universities that are not on our list. Now, our list is quite dated. I just off the top of my head, I want to say it's probably 15 years old. That's just a guesstimate, but it's roughly in that area. And for the most part, it still is applicable toward the standard, UT system courses. The ETSU courses are all pretty much the same. But again, what I'm finding is either new courses have been added to the curriculums at these universities, or courses have been renamed and renumbered, or applicants are taking courses from online universities that we just, at the time the list was made, either didn't exist or just weren't recognized at the time. So it really needs, in my opinion, a good, thorough, up-to-date review. Basically access the curriculums from these courses that are online, and then a reassessment of, is this a list 1, list 2, list 3 course? And I'm willing to take that on. Certainly, in the applications that I've reviewed, the most common one are the ETSUs, which ought to be pretty straightforward. The UT Martins, those are all the local regional universities that offer the 4-year degree that we recognize. But there's some other ones, some out of states. We get a lot of out of states. The Alabamas, the Kentuckys, those two come to mind, that are submitting, that they have the coursework, they submit their transcripts, and they're just some courses that, number one, on our list of approved courses already, and then they're, I'm like, I don't know if this is list 1, list 2, list 3. I really don't have any guidance. So oftentimes I get on the internet, go to the university, check their syllabus, read through a description of their course, kind of get a better feel. Is that an upper level surveying course? How does it directly relate to survey? Oftentimes what I'll do is I'll kind of, and Alexandria knows this, I'll kick it back to the applicant. I was like, all right, you tell me what course applies to list 1, list 2, list 3. That just makes it easier on me, quite honestly. And it gives me an idea of the mindset of where they're coming from. Because what I would hate to do is disapprove some courses, and they're like, no. So all that being said, I'm getting long-winded here. What I'm saying is I'd like the opportunity to basically take on that endeavor of, number one, reviewing what's currently on our list of courses. And, obviously if the course doesn't exist, eliminate it. If there's something that's replaced it, freshen it up. And then just kind of take a little liberty with other regional universities that may offer comparable courses and add those to the list. And then I think the board itself as a whole will need to review those courses and revise the list 1, list 2, list 3, whether they're the same, need to be changed, moved, whatever. I'm aware of at least one course in list 1 and list 2 that conflict with each other that we'll need to work out, things like that. So I guess what I'm saying is unless the administration has any opposition to it, I'll go ahead and take that on. I don't know that I'll have a final copy by the time we come back, but certainly a good start for something to look at.
Yeah, no, I think that's great. I always prefer a primer, and that's usually the instruction I give to other programs as well, because really there's nothing to discuss because you're just pulling stuff out thin air until you have a primer, because then you can move the needle one way or the other because you have a work product in. And typically what I'll do too is I'll get input from across the board from, for example, I'll take your comments and maybe Gary's as well and Jackie's comments and then bring that together. And then once we have some sort of offline, obviously we'd have to blind copy the board so we're not in violation of sunshine laws, and you would direct those to administration. But then I'll come together with a primer. That's sort of a collective. And obviously if you want to get started with it, that would be wonderful. And then that would give us something to discuss, and then I could share with Mr. Clark and Mr. Dillahay, get their comments as well. And then we're all to some sort of general loose consensus. We could put that on the agenda and then run with it.
Sounds good.
All right.
I'll just work it all through you.
Sounds good.
That's the way it works. Okay, those were the two items I had under new business. Certainly open the floor to any other. Gary?
Well, I just want to add to that. I mean, certainly you're welcome to take it on yourself, but if you come up with courses and stuff come in and a lot coming in, feel free to share some with me and I'll review as well.
Certainly will.
And look at it. What would help me is, I know we've got that list that we suggest that they fill out saying what courses they want to be claimed as it, because some of the other schools, like you say, you look through their transcripts and I find myself having to decide which ones they're claiming. And could we not just make that a requirement for them to fill that list out, say these are the courses that I'm claiming for my education, and I think let them tell us what courses they're using as this ABC and so on.
I agree with you, Gary. It would speed our process up tremendously in reviewing the applications if that is required to be completed.
Thinking like a grid, a log, something like that.
Well, there is one that
right.
is used.
It's just not used consistently.
Megan was just stating that geology does that. They identify what those lists are and sort of designate those under the criteria that they're claiming. So I don't see any reason why we couldn't do that with land surveyor as well.
I mean, I've seen some of them have that.
Right.
It isn't. I mean, it's part of what Alex sends out. It's just it's not always replied with it, and I'd prefer that before it comes to us, if they don't have that list in it, it just goes back saying you don't have everything yet, because that's really laborious for us to go through their transcripts, particularly if they attend 4 different schools and they're putting together trying to figure out that would help immensely. And because what's driving me too is that, okay, if I can't figure it out, I'm just going to defer and you take another shot at it.
Then that's an email thread that you shouldn't really have to initiate if you don't have to, if we can get that on the front end. Yeah, agreed.
We just need to ensure that that's part of the application process, that the applicant list, if their course path to licensure requires that listing of courses.
If they list it and it's one we're not familiar with, I don't mind doing, just as you said, doing some research on it myself, and then sharing that with if we're going to start that, sharing that back to Glenn, saying this is some research that I did, and throwing that back into yours with it. But that'd just be tremendous help.
I think it's to the benefit of the applicant as
Right.
well. I think it's to their benefit that they tell me how the courses apply, or, from their viewpoint, as opposed to me starting with a blank piece of paper and saying this is what you got, and they're like, no, that's not the case.
Could save them from a deferral just because we can't figure out what they're doing.
And then often cases there's some applications that'll come through. It's rare, but some that'll come through that they just don't have the hours. I mean, they just flat out aren't there. Either they never took them, or their degree is nowhere near related to surveying. And it seems to me like they're just kind of going through the motion of, if I just submit the application, they'll approve it, that type thing. We've all seen them. I think if this is a mandatory part of the application where they list the courses and how they apply to list 1, 2, and 3, that they'll, for those certain individuals, they'll kind of go, oh, I guess I do have to have a course. I guess they are serious type thing. Might save somebody a deferral. That's what it might save. So.
Would you still need your work product in regards to designating sort of that list? If you had them submitting them, sort of designate that on the front end, and then you making those determinations when you do your application review, you would say, okay, gotcha. I just want to make sure that those are 2 separate issues so that we can track both. Okay.
Yeah, it just is just a matter of us not having to blow our way through 12 pages of transcripts and looking at titles, trying to figure out what they think might apply.
Yeah.
If they just tell me what they think they've got to apply, then we can go from there.
There are some when they just kind of, here's my transcripts, you figure it out. Boy, that takes a while. That takes a while. Then it goes back and forth. I don't know, and then it can get pretty deep sometimes. So.
Some of them, it's they've already got 3 degrees, and they're just saying, surely I've got it in here somewhere.
I do want to just make quick notes to Alexandria. Good job on the applications that you're sending us. All the information is there. It's all correlated. I know what to expect when I see them on SharePoint, so it's really working well. So good job on your part.
Yeah, let me also say I asked you to send me what you sent to applicants, and because I was getting the feeling that maybe we were being obscure of what the requirements were, but no, your instructions are it's very straightforward. So if they're missing stuff, they're just missing stuff.
All right. Any other items to add to new business? I think that's where we left it at. I don't see any. I guess the last item is for requesting approval of APDH. Feel kind of negligent in some way here. I guess it's a good thing. Make a motion for approval of APDH for today's meeting.
That's the motion, or you?
I'm asking for a motion.
Okay, I move that we approve 1 PDH.
Second.
Motion second. Any opposed or all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, 1 PDH it is. I guess we're to the point of adjournment. Wow, record time. 45 minutes. How about that? You still have the record. That's right. All right.
He may have got it
This
today.
meeting is adjourned.